That's the whole point of these calls, is to inform us of what plans are happening so that we don't fall into fear and we don't fall into the narrative.
Or not even know. And like, yeah, right. When you get surprised by something, is like you're more likely to just go along with what's the surprise, right? That surprise energy rides you along into do what we say. That's the nature of the thing. But if you know it's coming, it's like, oh, that's the thing, huh? Okay, let's see what you're gonna do.
Yes.
Welcome to another episode
of Driving to the Res
with your favorite hosts,
Larry
and Inelia.
Yay, we're here.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's. Yeah, because by the time we get to publish this, it's going to be 2024. A new beginning.
Yes, now I have to remember to write the 2-4 instead of the 2-3. And honestly, I was still writing 2-2.
Oh my goodness. You're stuck in the past, honey. You're stuck in the past. Mm-hmm. So this podcast is based on the article that you can get from
Substack / Inelia Benz.
Yes. And it's called Riding the Waves of Beginnings. As a mystic, and to all you mystics out there, trained or not trained, you'll know that the whole world is energy and connection, right?
Yeah, I mean, we spend so much time like trying to figure out how to get along with the world that we're in, when the world that we're in, we're not really understanding.
And manipulate is the right word, because manipulate comes from the word manos, which is hands, right? So to handle the world. To
handle what happens.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to ride the waves of beginnings and what kind of beginnings you can ride and what to do in them, right?
Okay.
Okay, so here goes. I'm going to read a little bit and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
A few days ago, from the release date of this newsletter and podcast, we would have had our Looking at 2024 live call. And by the time you read this, we'll be in January and you will have a lot of information on what to prepare for in the coming year.
Before you go much further, can you elaborate a little bit? Because let's say you missed it.
Well, yeah, so every year, traditionally, and we started this tradition with the 100th Monkey Boys, remember?
Right, 100 Monkey Radio show, 2010, 2011, 2012, way back when. I remember staying up late on New Year's Eves, and instead of going out partying, I would listen to the What's Going to Be Coming interview. I like that.
And then that show ended, so we decided to continue with the tradition by looking at the new year every year, right? And the methodologies and things that I use have becoming a little bit complicated because, we're in a split.
Right, and that makes looking at what?
Exactly. So what I've been doing the past 2-3 years is to look at the plans that the dark side have been...
you could say light dark, right?
No, they're definitely the dark side of the light-dark paradigm.
Okay.
The dark side, or the ones that take authority over the world, claimed it. So
how about we call them the dramatic side?
Yeah, that one. They have plans, and they have to reveal these plans. And the revelations of these plans come in many forms on the public media, books, movies, newscasts, newspapers, magazines, all sorts of places, as well as the whispers, social media and all that type of stuff. And there's also, on a more mystical psychic level, there's a broadcast of what these plans are that are not hard to pick up. Most people misinterpret those things, thinking they're on their own thoughts or, other things, but they have a general sameness around them. And So nowadays, what we do are looking at the next year calls at the end of the year is we look at the plans, right? And then I scan the year to see which ones might succeed and which ones might be started or have started, but they're not really taking hold yet. So we do that. And we also look at what we as light workers should be doing and what we should be planning for, right? Because light workers are independent bunch. You can't tell them what to do.
And, we might be having a drama plan over this side of the planet or there or whatever you might consider it to be. And some of us may get, stuck into them in some way through our many different energy lines, through many different people throughout the whole entire planet. And other parts of us, maybe we don't. We're not even aware those things are happening.
Exactly.
And that's good. That's good. But when you do a looking ahead at 2024, you include both sides of the split, so to speak.
Yeah.
So what's the light side of the split have for plans? And what does the dark/light dark side have for plans? And how are we going to recognize
and the call is split into 2 parts. So we're going to have half an hour, which is going to be public. It's going to be up on all the social media. So those are kind of light look at things. We're not going to go into depth and details of everything, simply because most of the media outlets like YouTube and other places will censor it and will block our channels, deleting everything we have there. And that information and the people who hang out in those, quite honestly, they don't want to hear it and they don't want to see it. So there'll be the first half hour is going to be everywhere on a live stream. And basically not. If you want to get into the meat and potatoes of what was going to happen in 2024, we're going to have a ticket system. We're going to be, you need to purchase a ticket and enter. That's primarily as a filter, so we don't get trolls. Okay. And it's going to be a Zoom call. And all those details, I'm saying it's going to be, but by the time you hear this podcast, it's going to be done. So
you could probably still get the recording.
Yes, exactly. So you can look for the public version of the first half hour, and then you can purchase the download of the second part. It's probably going to be another hour of it. So the second part is going to be available for download from our website and on our Telegram and places like that.
Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
Last year's was pretty remarkable. I mean, some of the things were that seems no. Okay, though, whatever. And some things were where the heck does that come from?
I know,
and then
right?
You're living it, experiencing it, and you already have the
information,
knowledge of, hey, yes, this is something that's been strategized and planned, and
what for?
What for?
Exactly.
And so I'm not at a mercy of it.
Yes, that's the whole point of these calls, is to inform us of what plans are happening, so that we don't fall into fear and we don't fall into the narrative,
or not even know. And when you get surprised by something, is you're more likely to just go along with what's the surprise, right? That surprise energy rides you along into do what we say. That's the nature of the thing. But if you know it's coming, it's that's the thing, huh? Okay, let's see what you're going to do.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of, oh my God, I need to, right? You don't need to.
Yeah. So anyways.
Go check it out.
Check it out.
I'm sure.
Yes. Download it. Listen to it. Study it.
Yeah.
Okay. This article, this one that we're right now, explores other ways to prepare for a new year. Okay? So basically the name of the article is Riding the Waves of Beginnings. Remember?
Right. Don't worry you think, oh my God, the New Year's already gone.
No. It's not about that.
It's not about that.
Yeah. The actual New Year energy lasts for quite a few weeks for the culturally 1st of January thing. Okay, New Year's are celebrated in many cultures. In fact, I have not been to or known of a culture that does not do it. The timing of these dates, when the year begins or a seasonal cycle begins vary. The variation of the date of beginning only matters to us when we are able to identify with the date. For example, we may celebrate on the 1st of January if we live in the West. This one is a massive wave because people throughout the world have adopted it, and it is televised as it travels the world with the sunrises in different continents and countries. The date itself as a beginning edge is not as powerful as the shortest day of the year, which is followed by the swapping of shrinking days to elongating days. That is the date on which we can write global energies. We could even say astral and cosmic energies too. But our artificially created New Year is also good simply from the perspective that the majority of the human collective celebrates it and perceives it as a new beginning. So here's one of the things is like, I think that the shortest day that turns around in the northern hemisphere is different to the southern hemisphere, right? It's the opposites.
I imagine, yeah. It must be the day that it's longer, getting shorter.
Mm-hmm. So that's something to take into consideration if you're going to do that one. Mm-hmm. And I think that happened in December. Like, I'm not a very good mystic.
Usually like the 21st. It's kind of remember the end of the world, 2012, 12/21, 2012, that type of thing. So then you can remember that's like the day somewhere around in there.
Yeah, because it moves
a little
right?
bit. Yeah.
Because our calendar, human calendar, is artificial. So
the exact time and place. I mean, if you want it to be exactly time and placed based on the observations of what like Croak likes to call the sky clock.
Oh yeah, where the sun
where
and
the
the
sky
moon
clock says it is a different time than when the everyone else kind of sometimes agrees to when it is.
Right.
But to say one is more powerful than the other, I think it'll depend on the person, right? But it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there's a tendency to discount the human connection part. It's like all humans agree January 1st at midnight, mm-hmm. despite that the clock of the sky says it's like this other day.
Yes.
And so which of the edges are we going to use to go along with? And I think that you can probably see human collective ones might be great mm-hmm. with January 1st at midnight, and planet ones maybe more like with the actual planet sky clock time one, maybe.
Yeah, they're both valid.
They're both valid. They're both usable.
Yeah.
And it might be easier for you to line certain things with it just because of the nature of you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's what really resonates with you. And you can make it and connect with the global ones, the solstice and equinoxes. And you can connect with it. And when you connect with it, it becomes powerful. But if you're not connected to it, it bypasses you. It's like surfing. A massive wave might come. But if you're sitting on the shore, on the beach, it's just another wave, right? That you're not participating in.
Or it's kind of like, I think about it's like Christmas morning, you open your presents, right? Mm-hmm. And my dad was like, we need to have Christmas a week late so that we can get all of our presents for half price. And then we'll open our presents on December 31st or something, and that'll be our Christmas. I'm like,
not so exciting.
It just
not
doesn't have it.
And in Chile and other Spanish-speaking countries, it's the 6th of January when they say the wise men arrived with the presents.
Oh, yeah.
So now you have 2 Christmases because you have to do...
Got to do everybody else's and ours.
Yeah.
And then I remember having friends in Alaska from different countries who had different traditions. They had they had a wooden shoe filled with something, and they had that for a present some day before or after. I don't remember exactly, but there was there was a wooden shoe involved, and it was full of treats in some kind.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. And this might be related to the next bit.
Oh, what is that?
Another new year to put in our calendars and use as a new beginning is the Chinese New Year.
That's a huge one too.
It also has millions, if not billions, of people celebrating it. Probably, I think so. Yeah, this happens in a lunisolar configuration combining spring. Yes, a great start of a cycle. Also,
that seems
and the new moon.
Yeah.
So the sun, the new moon, and spring. This appears between the 21st of January and 20th of February. So every year is different. This one gives us the double whammy of a new moon and spring. And yes, we can write new beginnings at the start of spring, equinox, and solstice, and every new moon. If any of these combine in our artificial calendar, depicting the first of the month, even better.
Right, I call it stacking edges.
Stacking edges, yeah. Artificial dates are not as powerful as seasonal, lunar, or solar cycles, but they're good. They're really good. If you have some important magic to do, then get up very early and wait for the very first spark of light from the sun to appear in the horizon. This is a powerful beginning that happens every day. Not only that, but according to the new biology student of Dr. Cowan's, that edge will also structure your body's water. Can you tell us a little bit more about the structuring of body's water?
Yeah, that was an interesting call. I'm taking new biology classes at Dr. Cowan's site, where he basically really like 3 months worth of in-depth exposure to all the new biology concepts. And one of the parts of the new biology classes is about every other week or so we have a Zoom call with him to go over the chapter what we're just talking about. It might be cancer, it might be
heart attacks,
heart attacks, or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever the
shingles and
whatever the
chickenpox.
All the things. Whatever the thing was for that 2 weeks or so that we were studying intently, then we'll have a Zoom call and we'll go over questions and maybe a little bit of insights around it. Yeah. The last call, one of the fellas who's like sitting on the edge of his seat, so excited. I want to share what I've discovered, right?
Yeah.
He's got this discovery. He was using his Inelia wand to stir his water, and he uses some kind of a biogeometry or something to like measure how powerful the thing is. And it began to deteriorate. And he realized or read the directions he had to stick it out in the sun. So he was putting it in the sun to charge it back up, and it worked. And then he realized sunrise, because of his little checking the energy thing, sunrise and sunset, those edges, they had the most powerful time. So he could like charge it within just one sunset or just one sunrise, the same amount as like all day in the sun for the day.
Yeah.
So then he realized just a shadow from a building or something, a hard edge of a shadow, he could pass the Inelia wand through the shadow and the sun, and it'll charge it that way. And then he realized that he doesn't need to stir up his water because he's water.
Yes.
So he just held his hand on his Inelia wand to charge himself.
Nice.
But it's basically the sun structured him.
Yeah.
He just bypassed all the middlemen in a way.
And the edge.
And the edge magic. Yeah. He was using edge magic, and he doesn't even know there's such a thing.
No, he doesn't.
No one in the class understood the edge magic ritual or edge magic that we're talking about right here, the concept. But I shared it a little bit. It was like, no, we're very serious here. We're not doing magic. We're just taking advantage of structured, scientific structure water. Either way, you can skip the Inelia wand entirely and just pass your body through the edge.
And maybe that's why sun gazing works.
And maybe that's why sun gazing works.
Yeah,
and you turn into Breatharian.
Hour and the last hour of the day,
yes.
The first hour in sunrise and last hour of sunset.
Right. So, part of these things are believable stories. And part of these things are rituals that we give and assign meaning to. So you literally can skip to the source if you want, or use all of the tricks in between.
Yeah.
They're all valid.
Yeah. Okay. The human New Year's wave, the Western one, Chinese one too. Actually, Chinese one lasts longer. But then the Western one waves that lasts about 2 weeks in a powerful way. So it's not just about the second after midnight on the 31st of December. Although that one is really cool. That one's very cool. You will have, it's actually a minute. You will be able to tell when it's over, when you stop thinking, wow, we're in 2024 already.
And it's also related to when you give up your New Year's resolution, or you,
that's right,
you stop it. Like, this year I'm not going to eat sugar. A couple weeks it works, then
and then it's
that's when you know the wave is over.
Yes. Okay, how can you use these edges begin new projects, inject intent into things you want to manifest into reality, begin new practices, habits, and relationships. Anything you want to grow does well at the edge of something beginning. The bigger the beginning, the bigger the impact. So a sunrise edge is well suited for small matters, but can be used daily for many days for larger changes and beginnings. A new year for the life-changing beginnings, and a how do you pronounce that word? Decadal edge.
Decade long.
Because I read it, decadal edge.
Decadal.
Or other measured cycles like stellar cycles for big intentions.
Yes.
How fast and how long it takes or lasts, this depends more on your intent and willingness than it does on the edge we may tap into. Have a strong enough why, and any edge will do. Yeah, that's about it, really. Do you have anything else to add here?
Well, I think that
some examples, maybe.
I think that the strong enough why, I think that bears remarking on. Mm-hmm. That's one of the prime parts of instant manifest. It's the prime parts of having an intentional life. Even it's a prime part of your, I would say, enhanced experience of this reality you're having, right?
Yes.
It's like at the very far end of it, I'm the victim of all the things that are happening to me.
That's a very, very disempowered end.
That's a very disempowered, far, far end of it. Then I'm trying really hard to make things like happen, doing like this thing and that thing and the other thing.
It's and way, I
think. They're like, it's a little less than all the way over there, right? It's a little less, but it's still you're trying to get other things to line up so that you can, or whatever, it's kind of like that. And it's a little bit sporadic because it's like right now you feel this way and over here you feel that way, and then you change your mind about that, and then it's this other thing. And so it's a little bit frazzled. And it's because in this case, although you might be using mystical tools that are powerful, you really haven't, at the base of it, got a strong why.
Right.
A strong why is literally why you are sitting where you are doing what you're doing with the things that are around you right now. It's because of a very strong why.
Yes.
You may or may not even be conscious of it.
Right.
It probably is something you're not conscious of.
Well,
I'm not going to say probably, but
not for this audience, right? But generally speaking, on the planet, if they don't have a conscious, strong why for doing things, then somebody will take it.
And it'll be patriotism.
Yes.
Like, why are you going to go kill all those people on the side of the world? I'm a patriot.
Right. So
it's a program and a very strong why that's strong enough to get you to give up everything that you have and go halfway around the world and cause chaos. Right? Yes. To protect everyone over here, or whatever the story is. It's a strong why.
It's just a strong why. But
it's a very, very powerful why, but it's really it's not yours at all.
No.
Right?
And it's nothing to do with patriotism. It's about commercial enterprise. But let's not go down
I don't mean to go down that soapbox. That's not what I meant. What I meant was that's a strong enough why to gather a person to change their entire real experience of life radically and dramatically.
And become a pawn for another person's why.
Another person's why. Because what their why is a very strong why also.
That's also not victimization, okay? Because it's very easy to fall into the victim-aggressor cycle here, thinking, I've been manipulated and other people are pushing their programs onto me and blah, blah, blah. It's up to the person to become aware of the information that's coming through. And everybody has access to the same information. And that's part of why we do the looking at the next year calls every year. Because if you're informed, it's going to be much harder for you to fall for a different person's why.
Right, because at the root of it, patriotism is a bad thing. It's the corrupted patriot.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like the healing's not a bad thing, but the corrupted healer.
Yes.
That's not so great.
Right.
So we're like on the sides of the split, in the spectrum of the split, there's the corrupted version and the not corrupted version. And there's
and the information that I like to give and the information that I like to teach is the tools where you can be the one who can figure out which is a positive why and which is your why and which is another person's agenda why that's been pushed and you have accepted. So basically the tools, I'm not going to say, hey, this is your why, this is good, and this is bad,
You got to pick it.
You have to realize it. Because a lot of people that go to war, for example, they're wise because they have no other expression of being a warrior. Yeah. And they want to be good and save people. So they defend. So they go for it,
Right.
And
it's not like a small thing to do that. That's a giant why. And it's massively impactful in their life.
Yeah.
So you can have that same strong why that's massively impactful and be one that you actually, have a hand in choosing.
Exactly. And can see clearly that it actually matches your why. Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be incidentally more than about you.
What is?
Your why will be larger than you.
Yes.
A strong why includes more than usually you.
So with that strong why, then you can start looking for edges.
Yes.
Right? And
you can
do a little bit of edge
supercharge
magic.
that.
Yes.
Supercharge that. And if you're curious to see how that maybe have done in the past, how these whys are manipulated, look at the edges that were used to manipulate them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like 9/11 was a pretty strong edge. Mm-hmm. And that's a mystical date that's been used many times through the past to do the same type of action.
Yep.
And
since then also.
Mm-hmm. So, that's an edge.
Yeah.
An edge attached to a strong why.
Yeah. That's
somebody else's why mostly. Mm-hmm. Right. So you can use that same edge for your own why. Mm-hmm. I don't know how successful your own why is using someone else's edge. Negative edge.
Right.
I don't know what the consequences of that are.
That's why we use things like New Year's, because generally speaking,
they're like agnostic.
They are very powerful and happy.
Powerful and happy? Okay. All right, so pick your edge. Pick your edges carefully. But, a hijacked edge is a thing to talk about too. What if it's an edge that's just strong power, but it's been hijacked by time to generate the negative experience or the low frequency experience, because that was what we wanted, was that. I mean, you need a powerful edge to get everyone who's light beings to have negative experiences. So it's a powerful energy. But how do you use it without, how do you take somebody else's, I guess you could think of it as like, here's the sword of truth that's cut off the head of 1,000 people. It's so powerful. How do you take that sword and then use it for, I don't know, carving a beautiful Mona Lisa out of toothpicks? I don't know. I mean, it's not the right tool for that, but you know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you're saying.
So how do we use that?
And it's a little bit hard for you to give a good example of what it might be used for because of the warrior energy inside of you. But I understand it. One of the things that you can do when you identify an edge, like you identified 9/11, right? And so to identify it, you trace back the mythos behind it. Where did that come from? And I think a lot of people have done research around it, and it has to do with numerology. So you can detect it that way and see and also what's been observed is that it doesn't happen every year, right? But some years that date becomes very powerful. So you can research that. Once you understand the nature of the edge,
then you can utilize it.
Then you can utilize it no matter what other people have done with it.
That makes sense.
Do you see?
Yeah, because right now, at the very surface, you just
negatively.
You just align with whatever negative things are occurring with that date, and that gives it like a little bit of a taint.
Exactly, and that's the whole point of it.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
Taint it, yeah. So, yeah, lots of information.
Okay, well, you know what we talk about, and you know what we'll be talking about in the second hour. It sounds like a bit of mysticism, strong whys. We'll be talking about 9/11, it looks like, and we'll be talking about powerful New Year processes that mystics might do, and generating, and probably a strong why, strong enough for the group of us to use together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That might be fine. I mean, we might see that next hour.
Yes.
Let's see.
Okay. See you there. Oh, where can people see us?
Oh, well, you know, if you don't know by now, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Go to subscribestar.com and Inelia Benz, and there you go. Or you can even type drivingtotheres.com.
Yes.
And there you go. You'll figure it out.
Drivingtotheres.com.
Yep.
And you click on the subscribe button and you get the second hour.
And the second hour is usually way more than an hour, but, you know, we had to have a name for it.
Yes, indeed.
And so see you in the second hour.
All right. See you there. Because we say the word artificial for the New Year celebration in the West, I think that there's a tendency to minimize it. Like it's not as powerful or as big or as good as doing other ages, like for the New Year. But actually, is this one of the most powerful ones on Earth? Because human beings are creators. Humans do create the biggest, strongest stuff for our reality, for human reality.